These three areas of South Surrey are going to see massive change, and you need to know about them. You didn't just buy your South Surrey home for the four walls and a roof. You bought it for the neighborhood. And with that comes a certain degree of certainty. But according to the new Surrey 2050 plan, that permanent view from your backyard is officially scheduled for demolition. For decades, we've lived with a sense of security in our single family pockets, thinking a sturdy neighborhood meant the house next door would always just be a house. But Surrey is projected to hit 1 million residents by 2050. And to get there, the city is fundamentally rewriting the DNA of our streets. We aren't just talking about a new townhome complex down the road. We're talking about a total shift in land use designations that can turn a quiet cul-de-sac into a high-density corridor overnight. While some may see this as an opportunity, for others, it creates two massive problems. If you're a seller, the neighborhood you love is evaporating as the city's structure shifts towards what the city of Surrey is calling complete communities with significantly higher densities. If you're a buyer, you might be looking at a beautiful home today, only to find out 3 years from now, that's a 6-story condo popping up next door, stealing your sunlight and your privacy. In today's video, we're going to talk about the three areas in South Surrey that are set to overturn into bustling community hubs, changing the character and livability forever. It will be up to you to decide whether that is for the better or for the worse. If you want to learn about it, the good news is we're going to get into it right now. You only get one chance to buy or sell your next home. Let's get it right. Hey, worth mentioning, my name is Darren. I'm a real estate professional based right here in the White Rock and South Surrey area. And I've been helping families just like yours buy and sell homes here all the way back to 2007. And since then, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of people over the years, many of whom found me right here on this very YouTube channel. So if you're thinking about making a move and want some smart local advice, zero pressure, just real insight, there's a link in the description to book a time with me or my team, and together we'll help you make the right move with confidence. Now, to understand why these three specific neighborhoods are such a big deal, we have to look at the big picture. The Surrey 2050 plan isn't just a list of suggestions, it's a new genetic code for our city. It officially tosses out the old idea of single family only neighborhoods and replaces them with a hierarchy of density. The big change and the new starting point for many of our residential streets is something called Urban 1. Think of it as ground-orientated living. It keeps front doors facing the street, but instead of one house on a big lot, the city is clearing the way for row houses and townhomes to be built and become the new standard. If you live in an Urban 1 zone, the detached-only era of your street is officially over. But then there's the big jump, low-rise 1. This is where the city stops talking about houses and starts talking about apartment blocks. We're looking at buildings generally ranging from 3 to 6 stories tall, and if you're near a transit hub, those can shoot up to 8 stories real fast. When you see this all on a map, it means the quiet, sun-drenched backyard you love today could get a very tall, very permanent neighbor. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. My street isn't designated for condos, so I'm safe, right? Not exactly, because even on the most regular lots, we have to talk about the SSMUH. That's small scale multi-unit housing. Thanks to new provincial rules that Surrey has baked right into this plan, and they were mandated by the provincial government, to be fair. But what used to be a single family lot can now legally transform into duplexes, triplexes, or even 4-unit houseplexes and coach homes. So even if your neighborhood doesn't build a 6-story tower, they could easily turn one house into 4. It's gentle density on paper, but it's a massive change in the character and traffic of your street. So those are some of the new base models for the whole city, but the big areas to see massive change, the city isn't just using the base models, they are cranking up the volume to 10. So let's start with the heart of South Surrey as our first example, Semiahmoo Town Center. For years, this area was defined by a low-slung shopping mall and quiet side streets. But under the Surrey 2050 plan, the city is officially promoting Semiahmoo from a neighborhood to a primary urban heart. The plan allows for towers at the mall site to soar up to 24 to 28 stories. And if you live north of 16th Avenue towards 18th or 24th or right along 152nd, your skyline is about to be dominated by steel and glass. The designation moving moving into these residential pockets is called mid-rise 2. This isn't just a slightly taller building. It allows for mixed-use apartments ranging from 6 to 25 stories. And there's a catch. Mid-rise 2 requires mandatory ground floor commercial space. That means the residential street you bought on is being fundamentally redesigned to include retail traffic, delivery trucks, and bustling storefronts right underneath your window. Now, not only right in the heart of the city do you need to be aware of the changes and how far they taper out, but you also have to be aware of how this new plan spreads down 152nd Street all the way to 24th Avenue. We did a full breakdown of this all with even further detail on our YouTube channel, so be sure to go search and check that video out. That said, it gets even more interesting as you move towards King George Boulevard. Getting off 152nd Street and just really in and around King George Boulevard, that area is being designated as Employment 1. This is a strictly non-residential zone. The city's goal here is business park development, large format buildings, or light industry offices. If you're a homeowner nearby, you aren't just getting new neighbors, you're getting a massive wall of commercial industry that effectively cuts off your residential pocket. For a seller, this is a little bit of a double-edged sword. Your land might be worth a fortune to a developer, but the certainty of your quiet cul-de-sac is gone. If you decide to stay, you are choosing to live in a construction zone for the next decade, actually probably multiple decades, as Semiahmoo transforms into the second downtown of the South. Now, next, let's head east to the Grandview area. But before we touch on that, if you're even thinking about buying a home, whether it's in the areas that we serve of White Rock, Surrey, or the surrounding municipalities, it could be anywhere in BC, you're gonna wanna be sure to grab a copy of our free PDF, 21 grants and rebates for home buyers. We pulled together every program we could find, from federal, provincial, and even niche local ones, plus tips, links, and quick ways to save money that are often hard to find, buried, and made too confusing. So we've sourced them out and put them into one single spot for you to take full advantage of. It's totally free and could save you thousands. So you can get that now by using the link below in the description of this video. Okay, so on to area number 2, Grandview. This area is the testing ground for a specific new designation called Urban 3. The city's goal here is to cluster housing together to create open spaces. On paper, it sounds like more parks, but for a homeowner, it means seeing more row homes, townhomes, and low-rise apartments popping up on land that was recently forest or quiet acreages. This is basically in the area between 16th Avenue to 32nd Avenue and Highway 10 to 184th. It is a massive departure from the suburban feel that Grandview was originally known for. Plus, if you've driven between 184th Street and 200th down 24th Avenue lately, you know it already looks like a giant construction site. But the Surrey 2050 plan is about to take that expansion to a whole new level. We aren't just filling in gaps anymore. We are watching the total urbanization of the South Surrey Highlands. But the biggest shock for many is what's happening east of 184th Street. This is being designated as massive Employment 1 hub. This new plan effectively doubles down on the industrial style growth. We're talking about large format business parks and light manufacturing. If you live on the edge of this zone, your quiet country view is going to be replaced by a 24/7 engine of economic activity. Now, if you're a buyer looking at those shiny new homes in Grandview, you have to look past the fresh paint. You need to ask, is that empty field across the street designated for a park, or is it a future low-rise 2 block with 6-story apartments and shops? Or is it massive industrial coming into the area? You need to know these things. The map is changing so fast that today's reality is effectively irrelevant. Now, finally, the third area that we have to talk about is Ocean Park. This is arguably the most sensitive area because it's known for being one of the most sturdy and stable neighborhoods in the city. It's loved for its village atmosphere and small community feel. People here know each other, but even here, the DNA is being rewritten. The draft plan is moving to redesignate historically low-density pockets to Urban 2 and Low-Rise 2. For a neighborhood that feels like a quiet village, this shift to Urban 2 means adding 4-story apartments as a standard residential form. Even more transformative is Low-Rise 2, which brings buildings up to 6 stories with mandatory commercial on the ground floor. That quiet street corner that you love, it's officially being invited to become a bustling community hub with retail traffic right at your doorstep. Ocean Park residents, they're already pushing back, citing concerns about narrow roads and sensitive eagle habitats, but the city's mandate is clear. They want complete communities where you can live, work, and shop in a high-density environment even in the most established corners of South Surrey. At the end of the day, we're witnessing a battle between two different versions of South Surrey. On one side, you have the stability that existing owners and long-term purchasers have built their lives around, the certainty of quiet streets and predictable skylines. But on the other hand, you have the city's vision of growth, creating what they're calling complete communities, where 1 million residents can live, work, and play in a more compact, more connected urban form. Is it a loss of character, or is it a necessary evolution for a world-class city? And honestly, who knows what's best? That's for you to decide. But here's what I do know. You cannot make a smart real estate decision based on what a neighborhood looks like today. You have to buy or sell based on what you know is allowed tomorrow. If you want to see exactly how these designations hit your specific street, you need to check out the Surrey 2050 land use map. It's the only way to know if your neighbor's house is destined to stay a house or become a 6-story mixed-use apartment building. And if you think the changes in Semiahmoo, Grandview, and Ocean Park are significant, just wait. In my next video, we're diving into TOAs, or transit-oriented areas. If you live or buy within 800 meters of a rapid transit station, hold on tight, because the density rules there are about to get even more wild. You don't want to miss that video, so the good news is it's coming up right now. What if I told you that a 20-story tower could legally be built right next to your quiet single-family home?